I'm really excited, guys, to share with you my impressions from my recent trip to Ho Chi Minh City, aka Saigon, in Vietnam. Now, this is not my first time in Saigon. I'm gonna call it Saigon through the video, but of course you can call it as you prefer. I was saying it's not my first time in the city. It's actually second time. I was in Saigon for the first time 3 years ago, and I didn't like. I found Saigon to be a bit dirty, too crowded, uh, even boring somehow. I was not really partying that time, but I found it a bit boring, a bit undertone compared to other major cities I've been to in Asia. This time it felt very different, very different. I'm not sure why, maybe because I was partying a lot more, but I got to experience the city a lot more. I got to go out of District 1, which is where most of tourists hang out for the majority of the time. District 1 is the historical city center where you have a lot of colonial buildings like built by the French, for example. And so I got to go outside and see different aspects of Saigon. So let's get started by talking about the energy. Compared to last time, I found people to be high energy. There is something in the air. You can feel that there is growth. The things are getting better. People are very positive about the outlook of the future, and that's an amazing feeling. Right. You have to couple this with the fact that, and you immediately, that the population is still very young, even though this is changing. Maybe we cover that a little bit later. But the average age in Vietnam is 33 years old. Saigon would attract a lot of younger people as well, people who are looking at making a career for themselves or making a name for themselves. And so maybe in Saigon, but I'm not sure, the average age is even lower. Now, if I say 33 years old, it may not sound like crazy young to you, but I just to give you a reference point so that you better. First is China. The average age in China is 41 years old. That's a 7 years average difference. Right? Again, what this means is that you take your average Chinese, right, mainland China person, he or she will be 41 years old. You take your average, Vietnamese, he or she will be 33 years old. Now I give another reference point, the EU. In the EU, if I recall correctly, off the top of my head, the average age is 45 plus. My home country, Italy, is like 48. Then you take your average Italian, he or she will be 48 years old. Now, this has massive implications. We all know that younger people tend to be more risk prone. Younger people tend to be more open to new ideas, to innovation, etc. This is something that to me it's a huge plus of Saigon. You feel that energy, you feel the youth, you feel that positivity, which is truly amazing. Now, second thing is about cost. I've recently been to Bangkok. I've been a few times to Bangkok. Right? I was there last time in October. Now I find that Bangkok is still somewhat affordable. Again, I live in Singapore, as you guys know. So compared to Singapore, it's still affordable. But again, if I compare Bangkok and Saigon, there is a massive difference. What immediately catches the eye is your Grab or taxi, like hailing service. In Ho Chi Minh, Saigon, my average ride was less than $2 or about $2 Sing, which is what 1.5, less than $1.5 US. Extremely affordable. In Bangkok, that's typically 5, 6, 7 Sing dollars. And again, as a reference point, in Singapore, I barely ever take a Grab for less than $20. You feel that difference in pricing. Same goes for coffee. I had amazing coffee. Vietnamese coffee is great. It's mostly Robusta, but I also blend it sometimes with Arabica beans. If you're into coffee, try their coffee. It's very similar to your typical Southeast Asian coffee. Maybe I should make a video about that. What do you guys think? Maybe let me know in the comments. Your your Southeast Asian coffee, which means it has condensed milk, it has sugar, it may or may not be iced, and yeah, maybe it also has milk. They do amazing coffee in Vietnam. But another thing that really struck me this time was how fast buildings are coming up. There is a whole bunch of real estate development, residential specifically, happening in Saigon. You have like these new skyscrapers left and right. I hear that the build quality is not always the best, but it's that this is definitely, or these buildings are definitely shaping the skyline of the city. And I mean, it's really impressive. It's really impressive. I've been to a restaurant on the 66th floor of this building. I forgot the name, but I mean, it's truly stunning. Yeah, it's truly stunning. Something else that was fantastic is how approachable people are. It's very easy to talk to your average person on the street. Chances are that they will approach you, the local Vietnamese, especially when they want to sell you something or provide some services, which I think it's fair game. Also, something that surprised me is how young people speak English. It's very easy to strike up a conversation. It's very easy to understand each other, which is a great plus. Again, we are in Bangkok, the most visited city in the world, and even young people typically are not that proficient in English. In a nutshell, I had an amazing experience in Saigon. Parties are great. The cost of having fun slash going around doing touristy things is relatively affordable. There is a still booming economy. Just to give you another data point, in 2023, Vietnam crossed 100 million people, which makes it one of the top 20 countries in the world by population. Yeah, it's truly, in a nutshell, what I would say is that Vietnam is truly a force we have to reckon. You can't sleep on Vietnam. There is a lot of stuff going on. There is a lot of foreigners slash foreign governments investing in Vietnam. A lot of FDI, foreign direct investment. A lot of people setting up businesses there. What I hear is that the government also gives you a very interesting tax rate when you invest from abroad, say from Singapore as an example, into Vietnam. Truly interesting. And Vietnam.